Hey guys, and welcome to Dan-gler Sea Fishing. And tonight I'm going to try and break a record, a local record that has been standing for over 30 years. Now let's get fishing. Daddy's going fishing. This fish is huge. Look at the size of this fish. But that is why you go fishing. Hey guys, so as I said, I'm going to try and break a record tonight. Now, you might be asking, what record am I going to try and break? So, to get you to this point, I'm going to tell you a little story. So, I started fishing when I was 13, so over 25 years ago. And when winter used to come around, when we used to get to January and February, the fishing was rubbish. I mean, you would go out for sort of several sessions, and you might be lucky if you had a pout or a rockling, but the dogfish and the eels and everything, they just didn't exist. I mean, they did, they just cleared off. You didn't really get them during the winter period. Anyway, so since then, things have improved massively, and we now have a lot more fish available to us during the winter period, which to me makes me think that the poor little rockling has been forgotten. So, apart from sort of if people occasionally catch one in a comp, I can't imagine that many people are going out and weighing their rockling. So, I thought it might be an idea to go out and see if we can find a nice big chunky one. During the winter, I used to come down to Freshwater Bay, and I used to fish to the far left. Now, for those that aren't familiar, Freshwater Bay, it's a rocky outcrop ledge. So you've got a big ledge that runs across the edge of the bay. Then you've got two outcrops on either side, and then you've got sort of a sandy deep spot in the middle. It can be really good for bass and congers down here and bullhuss. But the other thing it can be really good for is big rockling. So, rockling, they predominantly are, probably due to the name, hanging around lots of rough ground and sort of heavy rocks and snaggy areas. A weird little fact about rockling is when the tide goes out, they will position themselves sort of under rocks, and even to the point that the water drains out, their body is covered in like a mucus slime, and they will just keep themselves moist enough that they can survive until the tide comes in. So a lot of the time they tend to stay in the same areas that they always are. Anyway, so there is 3 records available on the island for rockling. We've got the 5 beard, which can be identified by the fact it's got 5 beards. It's got 4 on the upper lip and 1 on the bottom. Then we've got the 3 beard, which has 3 beards and is orange and normally sort of speckled, like mottled. It's got like a pattern to it. And these are the biggest of the rockling species. Then lastly, we've got the shore rockling. Now these also have 3 beards, but are normally a brown sort of plain colour. These don't get as big, but this is the one that I'm going to try and see if I can break. So with rockling, they are scavengers, so they tend to sort of pick up anything. So what I've done is I've got my baits out nice and early today so that they are a little bit stinky. I'm reusing old baits, particularly fishy baits. They do love a fishy bait. So I've got nice stinky fishy baits. What we're going to do is we're going to chuck them in around a rocky ledge. So the rocky ledge I'm fishing is to the left of Freshwater Bay. There is a couple of stacks just off to the side, and when the tide's in, you get a really good sort of wave pattern forming over this area. And in there is where I'm expecting that we might be able to find at least a few rockling. I will point out that to break a record, you need one of 2 things. You need to either be extremely dedicated and spend hours upon hours going out, constantly targeting that fish, and hopefully eventually you'll get one that you could break a record with. The other option is you get lucky, and I'm really hoping for the second option. So what I'm really doing is I'm fishing for rockling and just hoping that I get really lucky and we might get something a bit special. So because we are fishing in some rough ground, I am going extremely old school when it comes to my rig, and it is probably the most basic rig I've ever shown you. The rig I've got 3 hooks, a 3-way swivel, which I will be attaching to my main line. I've got a piece of 25-pound mono to basically a lead I can lose, and then I've got a braided snood line to a 3/0 circle hook. Now that might look quite a big hook for a rockling, and there is a few reasons for that. One, rockling have pretty big mouths and they will take quite a large bait, so it's not a problem that I've got the bigger hook. The other thing is the grounds that we're fishing in are prime locations for larger bullhuss. They do like to hunt in these real rough ground areas. They are rough ground specialists, and congers and bass. So I wanted to make sure that I had something big enough that I could probably get a good hook on one of them as well. The snood line that I've got is actually just a piece of my main braided line, so that's 50-pound braid on there. As you'll notice, it is very short. The reason it's very short is because I don't want it going too far. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to be keeping these lines mega tight. I'm just going to keep them loose so that they can sit down, move around and float around, and hopefully we'll find something. We don't want them wandering too far because that's just going to cause us getting into bigger issues. So the baits I have brought with me, they are fishy baits. So I've got some leftover sand eels, I've got some leftover mackerel, I've got some leftover anchovy. Basically anything that was a fishy bait that was kicking around in my freezer, I've brought out. I've had them defrosting for around 12 hours because I want these to be super soft, smelly baits. What I want to do is I want to draw everything into the area that I'm fishing. So I will point out I've defrosted them in a cool box, so it's not a, these are not, I've not warmed them up. I don't want to cook them. I just wanted them to be nice and soft so that they will release all of that scent and maybe just be a little bit of extra ripe. That's mainly by reusing old baits that will give me that process. So the reels I've got them on today is I've got them on my Slosh 20s with 50-pound braid and a 70-pound shock leader. If I do keep losing the shock leader, I will ditch the shock leader and just go for braid all the way through. But I do like to have that little bit of a cushion of the shock leader. Hopefully we won't lose that, and hopefully we'll just be losing the weights, which is how I've sort of worked with the rigs to get them into place. The rods I'm using are my Sonic SK3s. Reason I brought these is they're my lucky rods. No, that's not the only reason. It's because they're a bit of a stiffer rod, and they aren't too long. I don't need anything overly long. I'm not trying to cast mega distances. We're going to be probably hitting fairly close ground. I will probably put one out a little bit further and one a little bit closer. With rockling, they don't tend to go into sandy areas, so if I'm not hitting the rocky areas, I probably won't find them. So I've got to make sure I'm putting myself onto that ledgy area, which is just off to the left of me. Now, as you'll see from this little clip, there is a huge drop between where I am and where the water is. When I walked along here, I couldn't get up with my box, so I literally had to crawl on my hands and knees to get up the bank. It is really steep. I mean, we're talking over 45 degrees. So it is quite difficult, but luckily, when all I'm carrying is a rod, I can get up and down it a little bit easier. But it is very steep. But it does mean that later tonight, we can start dropping them really short, just into the gullies that are literally just down there where it's carved out this bay. I don't want to go down there. Yeah, definitely sounded like water, so I'll take that. Oh. That looked like a Rockling bite. Ugh. Come on. Just dragging it up the beach. Oh, come on. Hold on. I'm gonna have to lever it from down there, I think. Oh, it's like trying to run up the Gladiator's travelator. Yeah. Lost it. It's literally, I had hold of the leader.
Yeah, yeah.
It's literally just a little bit out. It's definitely a Rockling. Ah, that must have been a Rockling. So, sharp little aggressive bites. And almost instantly snagged. That's a good sign of a Rockling, but I got most of it back. Obviously I lost the weight, and then I lost the hook towards the end. But positive sign, nice and early bite. We'll get another one out there. So I've got a couple of different variations of the setup I've got. And basically, I've got a ton of old leads that I don't really use. Brought them with me. Plan on losing pretty much all of them. I have fished this spot before and I have lost 10 rigs in 10 casts. Every time with a fish. It is a really rough ground area. So I need to be prepared to lose a lot. But I've got a couple of different variations of the same rig, and then I've got the stuff to make it up. So because of that, it means I can play around and work out exactly what the finite little mark is that's gonna get me out of it the best. Hey! Target acquired. So, here we are guys. That is what we were looking for. This is a shore Rockling. So, as you can see, it's sort of browny green in colour. Looks like this guy may have been in a little bit of a fight, because I don't think he's got much of a tail going on there. Oh no, it is in there. But yeah, so these are what we're looking for. A bit bigger than this. We need to be over a pound for the record, but this is the right species. So as you can see there, we've got 2 barbs on the top and 1 on the bottom, just 3 barbs, and then we've got this brown sort of mottled pattern to him, and that sort of elonged shape with the full dorsal fin going all the way down. That is a shore rockling. Anyway, I'm going to get this guy back and then we're going to see if we can find some more. So that bait there was that was a 2-0 octopus that was on, and that was right down in that rockling's throat. Just goes to show they will really swallow, and it had swallowed that bait down. So goes to show you can use some really big hooks on these guys. So, random fact about rockling, they are actually a member of the cod family, closely related to cod and haddock. I mean, I don't know whether they taste very nice, but they're not very appealing with that sort of slimy outside. But they are a really cool looking fish. But they are preyed upon by bass and congers quite regularly. So they are a scavenger. They're sort of lower down in the food chain, similar to a pout really, just purely don't really venture very far out of the rough ground areas. So with this fishing, I am expecting the worst tackle losses to be while we're at the bottom of the tide. The tide is starting to push in now. When we get a bit more water, we should be able to get some height up to get them out of the rocks. So unless we're snagged in where it is, we shouldn't snag in so much on the way in. But we need to be down here while it's at the low, because that's when all the rocklings start coming out. So I think they're generally a nocturnal species. I don't think they really come out much during the day. As I said, during the low tide, a lot of the time they find themselves sort of little moist pools and that, to sort of little cracks and that to hide themselves in, and just keep themselves safe until that tide comes back in. I'm just going to say, this gravel on this side, it's so small, and when you try and walk up that bank, it is so difficult. I feel like I'm in Gladiators and I've just done the Travelator. So Neil, who's fishing with me, has just managed to bring in a different species of rockling. So here we've got a 3-beard rockling, as you can tell by the 3 little barbels on there. But as I was saying before, they've got a different colour. They've got this orange colour with these sort of spotted patterns. So as you can see, it's got that orange pattern, and then you've just got 3 distinct barbs on the front, and that is a 3-beard rockling. So now all we need is a 5-beard rockling to finish it off. The set. Yeah, and then we've managed to complete the set. That was a good bite. Oh, I don't think it's on there. Oh, that was a cracking bite. Oh. So there we are, guys. That's a better sized 3-beard rockling. As I said, beautiful pattern they've got, these fish. They're a lovely species. I mean, I think these are really cool little fish. I mean, they're perfectly adapted for the environment that they live in, and when they get bigger, they can put up quite a fight. I mean, I'm not going to bother weighing this one. It's probably a pound, maybe a little bit more, but these ones, the record is maybe about, I think it's £3 ish, something like that. I mean, this guy's not going to be there, but he is a beautiful fish, and we're going to pop this one back. We're going to see if we can find some more.
All right.
So Neil, who's been fishing for some bigger fish, has managed to find something that would probably eat the little rockling that I'm after.
Yeah.
What was the
£9 bang on.
£9 exactly.
That was on a mackerel head. And yeah, he smashed it.
Yeah.
I'm a bit out of breath because I've had to get up the north face of the Eiger to get back up to the rods.
It was quite funny. Normally we help each other with fish, but the problem is it's such a bank down here. If one of our rods up here went, there was no chance of us getting up here.
We wouldn't have got it.
So I had to wait up here and just watch Neil struggling down the bottom with our fish.
Here we go. Yeah,
but
nice fish. So we'll get him back. £9.
So we'll get him back.
Lovely.
Well, my last baits are in. We're not calling it a late one tonight. So I've just popped my last baits out. We've got a chunk of mackerel on one and sand eel on the other. Just see if we can find one more rockling. Right, well guys, I'm gonna call that it for tonight. I feel like it's been a fairly successful night. I mean, okay, I didn't break the record, but I did manage to find the target species that I was coming for. And we haven't actually lost too much gear. I think I lost 2 leads in total. Apart from that, I managed to get all of the hook lengths back. I did lose a hook as well. But yeah, apart from that, we managed a 3-beard and we managed a shore rockling. So yeah, I feel like that was fairly successful. It's not going to be anything I'm going to pursue for months, so I might revisit it at another venue. I do have another venue in mind that's quite good for rockling that I might have a play with later in the month when things are a bit quieter, but we'll see. Anyway, if you are enjoying my videos, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and until the next video, I'll see you then.
It's all packed up, the lines are in, the tide has turned, the day's grown thin. So hit that sub, you won't want to miss, 'cause Dan-gler will be back again to catch more fish.